Happy New Year and welcome. My name's Steve Beckles-Ebusua, the speaker without the orange tie. Welcome. Those that don't know anything about me, guys, I'm a motivational speaker. I go to schools, colleges, universities and companies around the UK, Europe and in the States. What's this all about? I've been delivering these since March. And the whole idea is really helping people to help themselves, not just getting through situations, but gain them from them. But guys, Happy New Year. It is the 1st of January 2021. What's in store for us? That I don't know. I was thinking a lot about this past couple of days about, what is actually going to happen. And so much has happened since March, and even over the past couple of weeks so much has happened. Much of the UK's moved from tier 3 now to tier 4, and I think we are in challenges. And I was talking to a friend the other day and she said, Steve, I'm just looking forward to 2021 and get rid of this year. Now, harsh reality is it ain't gonna make no difference, and I did say that because what we're talking about is just a date. And it's really about what actually happens. It can happen anytime. That's why I'm not really into New Year's resolutions. But with this session, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be giving you some tips and techniques and ideas to, just really help you to kind of position yourself at the beginning of, the first day of this year, and really hopefully set you on a path. So when you really start thinking about what you need to achieve, you have like a structure, a bit of a kind of a focus in order for that to happen. So guys, welcome. And I'm very excited because it's just a start. And I always say to people, it's just about starting. Get going and then everything else will change. So if you would have seen my strap line, I had on it said, let's hoover away. Here's the Hoover. Unfortunately, it's not orange, but it's gold. It's close to orange. Let's hoover away 2020 and move into a successful 2021. Now, I said to you earlier on, I'm not into New Year's resolutions. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you're going to make a decision because it's the start of the year, why didn't you do it like in December or in November or September? For me, just take action. So I'm not really big into that kind of first day, let's do it. But I do understand why we say that, as it acts as like a momentum. But the reality is, if you think about it, whether it's the 1st of January or the 1st of July, it's about what you do. Yeah? Okay, 1st of January gives it that kind of start and, I've got the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd. But the reality is, this is down to you. So what I want to do is kind of give you some tips. I'm going to use the word move. Yeah, if you look at the statement I make, I said, let's hoover away 2020, move into a successful 2021. I'm going to give you 4 tips using those letters to really help you, yes, to move, but also to self-reflect on yourself. And I think that's perhaps, if anything, the best thing to do is to start doing that self-reflection at this point. So you could look over what's happened in the year. Now listen, it's been said so many times about what's gone on with the lockdown. I could talk to death about it, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is try to get you now to perhaps realign yourself. If you're thinking, Steve, this year's been awful and now it's 2021, what's going to change? Hopefully with these 4 tips I'm going to give you, you're going to really think about how you're going to do this. Yeah. So I'll say again, Happy New Year. Thank you very much for the little comments that are coming up. So guys, let's get going. First of all, make the most of every moment you've got. Often when I talk to people and they say, how are you doing? I often say, every day above ground is a good day. Yeah, that's one of my lines. It comes out of my tongue straight away. Why? Because who would have predicted we will be in this situation? 9 months ago, I'm a big salsa man. I think I was at Wheatstone. I was salsing away. I was going to different places. I was having an amazing time. And then all of a sudden, in the middle of March, things changed. And then by the time we got to April, boom, it had gone. Now, granted, that happened over, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But the point I'm making is now, we don't really know what's going to happen. And that could be for the positive as well. but I suppose we're realistic. Things are not going to be good at least for the next month or maybe 2 months, if not a lot more than that. So what do? Make the most of every moment you've got. And that could be anything. That could be ringing someone you've not spoken to for a long time and just give them a bell. Do it after this talk. Just give them a bell. Why? Because what I think for you to do, for things to change, you have to change your pattern of behavior. And if you say something like, oh, I'll do it later, listen, there might not be a later. And I'm not being ultra negative, but I'm just saying, make the most of every moment you've got. Once you start doing that, you start really appreciating everything. And I'm doing it all the time. And let me give an example. I've got this timer, okay, orange, obviously. And what I do, when I've got a task to do, I set it normally for 15 minutes. So I work in 15-minute chunks, okay? Now, it might be tidy up the front room. It might be do some paperwork. It might be give that guy a bell. The bottom line is, the 15 minutes makes me measure my time. So in other words, I know that's going to go off in 15 minutes. So I must make that phone call. I must tidy up the front room or whatever my tasks are. How many times have you had a plan to do something and then you look at the clock and think, is that the time? What have I done? You must make the most of every moment, because I can't stress enough what could happen in the next 2, 3 days, 4 weeks, we don't know. Make the most of it. And that's something I think is so, so important. On that note, I'm training to become a therapist, a behavioural therapist, a cognitive behavioural therapist. I actually started last year, but it's just part of what I'm saying about starting and just doing something and just not sitting there complaining and making the most of the moment. It is hard work, and I'll say that, and I've got a tutor as well on the course, and you know, I know that I'm going to be successful. Why? Because I know I'm making the most of my time, and I'm not going to let this horrendous situation hold me back. So I'm looking forward to that, qualifying as a therapist. I'm still going to be a speaker, still going to be doing what I do, motivating and inspiring people. But I think, CBT, cognitive behavioural therapy, all of that kind of stuff, you know, I'm on my first assignment and I'm absolutely loving it. So it's all about improving yourself. And Happy New Year to everyone as well. Thank you so much for the comments. Now, let's move on to O. Offer help to those that need it, not so much want it. Let me say it again. Offer help to those that need it, not necessarily want it. I'm talking about is just giving to those people that often don't ask for the help. You know, those people that are very proud and often say, look, I can take care of this, is fine. Do you know what? Just do it. Just help them. Just be there to help them without being asked. When my sons were younger and I'd have to ask my son to tidy his room. When he did it, it was no big deal. However, when he tidied his room without me asking, it was like this was an event. Why? Because he did something without me asking him to. What can you do for somebody else now? Yeah, without having them asking you to do it or maybe hinting to do it, just do it for them. And most important of all, when you do this, don't go around telling people you've done this for that person, you've done that. Why? Because me personally, I think it takes away the value of helping people. I think charity should be about when you give and people don't know about it. That's proper charity. If you have to tell people that you have given, in my opinion, I don't think you're actually giving, because what you're doing, you're looking for that praise from other people. So when you help that person, don't tell anyone. And don't put it in their faces either, because that's something a lot of people do. Well, what about when I helped you the other day? Yeah. What I'm asking you to do is just do it, help them, and realize it's about offering your services to other people. And yes, invariably it will come back, but don't wait for it. It will come back. So the next one is V. And V is important. V is for two types of people. First of all, the person that have started this first day of the year and thinking, do you know what, I'm going to make a point, and do you know what, if that guy starts to override what I'm saying, I'm going to say something about it. I'm talking about have your voice heard. So I think many of us from yesterday has come into this year, and you're going to be the same, a little bit sheepish, a little bit, no, I don't really want to upset, etc. I'm asking you to have a voice. I'm asking you to say, do you know what? I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. You know, I've been agreeing all this time. I must say, I don't agree with that. What I'm asking you to do is find your voice. I think many of us just let things go. Why? Because you don't want to rock the boat. I think you have to rock the boat, because in life it's about changing, and people get set in their ways and they just think you're that way all the time. But if you're listening to this thinking, yeah, that's me, I want you to start doing it now. I want you to start voicing how you really feel about a situation. I want you to voice your opinion about if they're doing really well, tell them. Don't think at the back of your mind, no, I don't want to tell her because it make her feel too good. No, don't do that. Just say it, just voice it. Now here's the other side. There are some people listening to this, and I'm sure we'll listen to later on, will say they are the type of individuals that love to lead, love to control, love to be the ones that have the voice. Do you know, I think sometimes you need to shut up. Now I can tell you to do that because I don't know who you are. But some of you go into an environment where you have to be the voice. You have to be the one. And sometimes it's not due to arrogance. It's just a role you feel you have to maintain all the time. And I don't feel that's necessary. I think sometimes you have to stand back and just observe and let other people speak. Because I think you're probably around people that don't really want to say how they feel. Why? Because you're going to jump down on their throats. And I think sometimes it's about you just shutting up and just let other people speak. Now again, as I said, I'm not into New Year's resolutions, but it is the first day of the year. How about starting now in that mindset? When that person rings you up to have a chat, don't try to lead the conversation, tell them about all the things that you've been doing. Just pull back, just for today, for example. And you'll be surprised by what happens, because what happens, that person then has confidence about speaking and saying what they really feel, instead of just towing the line with you. The next one, guys, the last one is E. And it's evaluating where you are in the world. Let me explain. As I said, I'm studying to be a therapist. I love it. That sounds great. And I'm looking forward to doing it. And in my first study, a lady called Dr. Mary Helm tells a story. 4 blind men are observing or touching an elephant, okay? But they don't know what it is, okay? So the first person touches the flat side of the elephant and says, oh, it's a wall. Yeah, it's definitely a wall. The second person feels the leg and says, no, it's not, it's a tree. Yeah, because the trunk, it's the leg, sorry, it's a tree. The third person said, no, it's not, it's a snake, because they're feeling the trunk. And the fourth person is feeling the tail and said, no, it's a stick, it's a stick. And what she says is that many of us are one of those blind people, either at the wall or at the leg or at the trunk, which is, they call it a snake, or maybe the stick, the tail. But the reality is they're all wrong. Because what they're not prepared to do is to maybe feel around the rest of the elephant. Now this story is called the Blind Men and the Elephant. If you Google that, you'll hear that story in its full entirety. But it's an important part, isn't it? Because what part of the elephant are you now constantly feeling and sticking by that all the time? So you're constantly feeling the leg and saying, yeah, that is definitely a tree trunk, definitely. Do you need to stand back? And do you need to go around that elephant? Do you need to possibly say, before I decide on it being a tree, I'm going to stand back and maybe check the rest of the elephant? Do you see what's going on? I think most of us don't do that. Most of us just stick by what we're saying, and we're not prepared to look over the whole of the elephant, following that metaphor. Boom! That's M.O.V.E. And what I've spoke about really is the importance of really, as we go into, well, we're into 2021, what are you now going to do? And I use M.O.V.E. because it's a great an acronym. Because I often say the best thing to do is the right thing, the next thing to do is the wrong thing. But do you know what the worst thing is? Is to do nothing at all. So let's just take the 1st of January. If you're saying, oh, it's going to be exactly the same how it has been last year, it will be. So what I'm going to ask you to do now is use M.O.V.E to hopefully move your thinking. Maybe not physical thinking, but mental thinking. So let's just go through it. M.O.V.E. Make the most of every moment. Make the most of every moment. When this finishes and I'm done, do something you wouldn't normally do. Here we go, there's a challenge. But make the most of your moment. Text someone perhaps you wouldn't normally text. It's the first day of the year. Why wouldn't you? As I said, I'm excited about studying and I'm looking forward to being a therapist and helping people. Still a speaker, mind you, but I'm really, really kind of excited about my journey this year and my studying. It's going to be great stuff. Next one. Oh, very important. Offer to help. Offer to help. To those that need rather than those that want. You know, there's some people that always ask for your help, but they ask for your help because they're used to getting help from you. So it's more of a want. Even those that have that need, try not to wait for them to ask. Just do it. Like I said, when my son tidied his bedroom when he was younger without asking, I thought, wow, because he's realised something I needed and he did it without me having to tell him. The next one is V, is your voice. If you're a quiet person and you've been letting people, dare I say, tread all over you, how about making today, maybe the rest of this year, maybe the rest of your life, a point where you think, do you know what, this is not happening anymore, and I'm actually going to voice my opinion, how I feel. On the flip side, if you're someone that's always leading, always in control, you might like that. But what I'd ask you to do is just be very careful about that. Because when you're like that, people don't tend to really tell you how they feel. Why? Because they know what you're going to be like. So maybe it's time just to step back a little bit and just hear what they've got to say. Then finally, guys, it's evaluate. E. Remember that elephant? Different parts of the elephant. Are you talking about the trunk at the moment? Are you talking about the wall of the elephant? Are you talking about the tail? I think you need to step back. And I think you need to try each part. Just like you saying, okay, I see a leg as the tree, but do you know what? I want to see if I can see the snake, the trunk part of the elephant. Let me see if I can see it. So you can see what you're doing. You're actually giving the opportunity for you to say, do you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I've been stuck in this way of thinking and believing. Boom, that was M.O.V.E. Guys, it's been absolutely tremendous. Thank you so much for listening. Like I said, I'm still in a kind of party mood, hence the lack of tie. But we'll going back to normal, back to the orange tie next week, and I'm going to be really excited about that. I'm really blessed to be working. I'm working a few days doing some Zoom stuff. But it's going to be a challenge out there. I know it's going to be a massive challenge for everyone out there. So it is about helping each other. I'd like to say, first of all, I've been very, very excited about how things have gone over the past few weeks. Big shout out to Natalie Ward. She's my co-presenter, and we're doing some great stuff on OSSR. My show has moved. It's now from 10 till 12 every other Sunday, sorry. So it won't be this Sunday, but the following Sunday. We are going to be having some amazing guests. Ken Barnes has been on the show. We've also had Carol Lilly was on last week. We've got a guy called Alex Wilson. Now we are going to be getting into that kind of what OSSR is all about as well, is that music. And this guy is an amazing Latin jazz pianist. Honestly, I Googled this guy. Do you know what I'll do? I'll put a couple of links just so you can find out about this guy. He's going to be on the show on the 7th of February. If you're interested in kind of being a part of the show, on my show, by all means contact me. I'm just interested to hear what your loves and passions are. And if they succinct with what I'm looking for, what me and Natalie are looking for, it will be possibly great to have you on the show. Also, guys, I was asked about the videos and the YouTube videos. Guys, the YouTube Orange Online has blown up. Really excited. I've been doing loads of stuff. So if you want more of these videos, all you type in is on YouTube, so go to YouTube, type in Orange Online Learning, and you will just see loads of videos covering all topics that really I feel would possibly make a difference to people's lives. It's been a real massive pleasure. What can I say, guys? We are in a very challenging time. It would be wrong to say otherwise, but it really is all up to you. Yeah, it's all about how you tackle this. And something Jim Rohn said is that you can't control the blowing of the wind, but you can control the setting of your sail. So the blowing of the wind is what's going on out there at the moment. So we're at tier 4 at the moment. Who knows what tier we're going to be in when I'm doing my video again next week? Who knows? But the reality is you can't control that. What you can control is the setting of your sail. So the wind is all of this negative stuff that's going on. And this negative stuff you can control by turning off the TV possibly, and maybe not reading those headlines we're hearing day in, day out about the vaccine and all the rest of it. Not going down that road regarding vaccine. Different people have different views in it, but the point I'm making is that you have to be clear in your mind to what you want to achieve. And out there, I think, is a totally different agenda. So it's about your focus. So guys, thank you again for your time. I really appreciate you listening in. All I'm going to say, guys, as I always say, it's not about getting through this situation. It's about getting from it. Guys, thank you so much, and have a great year. Take care. Thanks very much indeed.